What is DAX? DAX, the full meaning of DAX is data analysis expression. Data analysis expression. Now, DAX is a functional language, right? What does that imply? What that implies is that it embeds a lot of functions, right? Which can be categorized, right? And you can use them to achieve, different aim and objectives. So just like for some of you here that you guys already know Excel, right? You guys already know Excel, and you understand when to use sum if you want to add to addition, when to use count, when to use counter, those kind of different kind of functions, VLOOKUP. What again? Remind me some of the Excel functions I can't remember. E function. So you see some of those Excel functions also embedded inside of Power BI DAX, right? But the difference in your regular Excel functions and DAX is that DAX is more robust, right? And also the context of evaluation is different. I mean, the way uh, calculations or expressions are being evaluated is quite different from the way it is on Microsoft Excel, right? Now, the interesting part of this is that people usually think that when it comes to DAX, that maybe DAX started with Power BI. No, DAX has been even before the advent of Power BI. Yes, DAX inside of Excel. Some people might not know when I'm telling you this morning that there's DAX inside of Excel. For those that are advanced Excel users, that you do data modeling with Excel after doing your Power Query transformations, you take uh, your tables to your queries to the next level by creating relationship between them, right? And you apply changes and load, and there's that portion, on your pivot table feeds that you can go and create a new measure, just like the way you would do in Power BI, right? So you create a new measure, you can do, all of that inside of Excel. You can write your DAX inside of Excel, right? And you're going to also validate it before even, pressing your OK button to save that measure and apply it on your charts, on your Excel charts. Interesting. So DAX has been for a long time now. You can write DAX in Excel. You can write DAX inside of Power BI. Where again can you write DAX? I think you can write DAX inside of Microsoft Fabric. No, sorry, no, I didn't mean Microsoft Fabric. And I know you can write DAX inside of that. I wanted to say something else. You can write DAX inside of SSCS. Yes, SSCS. You can write DAX inside of your SQL Server analysis services. What again can you do? What again can you do? Yes, a couple of places I can't remember everything on my head at the moment where you can write your DAX expressions, right? So let's start with you know some of the categorizations of DAX, just like the way you have in Excel to, you can categorize functions based on what they do, right? So the same thing also goes for DAX. I'm going to just give me a minute, a minute. Yeah. Okay. So DAX has different categories. Let me share my screen for a minute, Christiana. Then you can share back again. Let me see if you can see my. Let me know if you can see my screen, guys.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so the full meaning of DAX, I said it before, it's an analysis expression. It's a formula language with functions. Before writing DAX expression, make sure to validate your table relationship. It means that you need to have a solid understanding about data modeling, table relationship before you start writing your DAX. And ensure refresher integrity. What does that even mean when they say ensure refresher integrity? Let me tell you what that means. Let me ask you, let me ask Axland this question. Does it make sense if you have a foreign key without a primary key? Does it make sense to you, Aslan?
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't make sense, right? Because the primary key inside of your dimension table is meant to be the parents table that has information about that dimension. So imagine now seeing a customer ID that does not exist inside of the customer table, and you now start seeing that customer ID inside the sales table. Does it make any sense, Christina? You are mute.
No.
It doesn't make any sense, right? But
No.
it's possible that that happens. It might be an error from the database. It might happen. But as a Power BI developer, it is your task to always ensure that you validate your table relationship by ensuring that there's now when they say differential integrity, it means that when for every primary key that exists, for every foreign key that exists, there is a corresponding or there is a primary key for it in the parent table. It's usually the dimension table, right? That holds the different business entities, right? So now, what I'm saying here is that ensuring differential integrity means that there are ways you can ensure differential integrity. I'm going to share a video with you before we end this class, where I'm going to show you how to validate or how to ensure differential integrity inside of your Power BI uh, table relationship before you start writing your DAX. Because of if you don't do it, at the end of the day, you might be seeing some values attached to some blank. You might be seeing some of your calculation result attached to some blank values that you do not understand. And it might cause confusion because you see that there's a customer, you know, there's some sales amount that is not attached to any customer ID. And you start wondering where is the problem coming from? It's because of differential integrity, right? So I'm going to share a video with you that will explain more about differential integrity to you guys for you to understand it better. Now, I said these are the places that we can write DAX. We can write DAX inside of Power BI. We can write DAX in Excel, Power Pivot. We can write that inside of our SQL Server Analysis Services Tabular, right? We call it Tabular model. You can write your DAX inside of your Azure Analysis Services, right? That's the cloud version of SSAS, right? In Power BI, we can use DAX to create measures, these calculations. We can use DAX to create calculated columns. You all know what that means, so let me explain it. Calculated columns are the extra columns you create, right, on top of the original table. Let's say, for example, the original table that you imported to Power BI has a quantity column and a unit selling price column, and you want to get your total sales. What do? You multiply the unit selling price by the quantity column to give you a new column called total sales, right? So you can use that to create calculated. We call it calculated columns because they are not part of the original table. They were created inside of your Power BI, right? Now, you can use DAX to build calculated tables, right? I mean, you are building tables that did not originally exist from your original tables. So sometimes when you are building new tables, it might be that you are creating those tables by referencing already existing tables in your data model, or it might be that you are writing a generic DAX expression to create something for you, right? Depending on what you want to do. But the main point is that we can use DAX to create measures. We can use that to create calculated columns. We can use DAX to create calculated tables. Now, there's something called row level security. You know, as a Power BI specialist or developer or data analyst or whatever title you hold, one thing, in fact, in any interview, in any organization that you find yourself, or maybe you're applying for a job and you are in an interview, one of the core things that the interviewer or the hiring manager is going to be interested is your knowledge about the security part of things, how you can ensure data protection, data security using your Power BI, within the Power BI environment, right? How you can protect Power BI assets, right? Now, every organization wants to ensure data security. They want to filter data. They don't want everybody to have the same level of access to data. So security is a very important part of your job as a Power BI uh, professional, right? So we use DAX to apply row level security. right? We use DAX to do what is called time intelligence, right? We want to create calculations like your year to date, your month to date, your previous months, all of those. Think of any time intelligence stuff is possible inside of your, it's possible using DAX. Now, we also use DAX to control filter context. Now, you might not really understand this now if you are new. Uh, is what we call evaluation context, which has the row context, filter context, and the context transition, right? That is like an advanced part of, a way you can understand DAX. You can understand DAX by the categorization of the different functions. You can also understand DAX, in the in with your with evaluation context. Okay. Now, let's see DAX functions grouped by category. We have the aggregation functions. We call them aggregators. That's where you see functions like your sum, average, mean, max, your count, your counter, your count rows. We have time intelligence functions like your total year to date, same period last year, date add, date YTD, parallel period, first date and last date. These are just examples. There are a lot of there are a lot of time intelligence functions inside of Power BI. Now we have filter functions, your calculate, your filter all, your all except, all selected, remove filters, keep filters. You'll see all of those things by the time we go ahead with this class. Your iterator functions, that they iterate, they evaluate your calculations on a row by row. They go row by row to evaluate your expression, and they give you the final as a scalar value, right? We have your sum x. So you see them having all the XXX, the sum x, the average x, the max x, the mean x, the count x, all of those XXX, they are iterator functions, right? We have logical functions like your if, your switch, your and, or not, if error. You have your text functions like your concatenate, that's like you do in Excel, your left, right, mix. So if you look at this list, you see that there are some functions that you're already conversant with, that you already use inside of your inside of Excel, and you also see them here, right? There's some differences though in some of the functions and the way we apply, we use them. See the math and the table functions also. Look at the relationship functions, the information functions. Then we are going to talk about this later on, the row context and the filter context. But for today, let's just focus on the different categorizations, and we can start exploring stuff, right? So you can share your screen now, Christina. You can share your screen.
Done.
Okay. Now let's. Oh, sorry, I'm coming, guys. Sorry. Can you guys hear any background noise?
No.
Okay, good. So let's go ahead. Um, can you delete this chart you have here? Okay. Now you go to, let's go and insert a new table. That new table is where we are going to be putting all our calculations, right? So go to insert. Okay. Go to, oh, sorry, not this place. Go back to your home and click on enter data. Yes, click on enter data. Click on enter data. Now change the table name, clear what you have there, and put a hash in front. The hash symbol, that's your shift and 3. Shift and 3, yeah. And write calculations. Type calculations. Calculations. There's no need to edit this one. Just click on load. So it will come with a column by default. We can delete that column because we don't need it. Okay, good. Now that we have created a table, this is that table that all our calculations are going to, they are going to be is it stored or they are going to stay there, or they are going to sit down there, or what's the word, right? So the reason why I said you put an hash in front of the calculation is because in terms of the arrangement on that data side by your right, it will arrange the symbol first before the alphabet, right? So that's why I'm telling you to put the hash. Now let's start with, so before you can write, because you want your measure to your calculation to stay inside of that table, you have to click on the table first before you start writing your calculation. So click on the table first, right? And you go to click on new measure. Click on new measure. So Aslan, so what's the difference between a measure and a calculated column?
Good question.
What's the difference?
Measure is the DAX expression itself, maybe.
So measure will give you just a single value as the result.
Okay.
For example, you are summing up a column in the sales table.
Okay.
It's just we call it scalar value. SCALAR, scalar value. It's returning just a single result for you because it's summing up the entire column and return the results. So if the entire sales column in the sales table is $10,000, it will return. But by the time you apply that on a card chart, for example, you will see the $10,000 result come out. But the calculated column is you are creating an additional column, still using DAX, right? You are creating an additional column, adding to the already existing table by creating an additional column, right? So that will return a column for you. It's different from a measure that will return just a single result. Do you understand?
Kind of. Yeah, but you can
Okay,
go
don't worry.
ahead.
As we keep doing it, you understand better.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go. So we are creating a measure, and we are calling this measure total sales. Total sales. So you have to name, you have to give your measure a name first before writing the expression itself. So the name of the measure is total sales equals to, right? So the total sales you are saying there is the name of that measure, and it's total sales, right? Now total sales equals to, and you will now say sum. Use the sum function. Use the sum function. And what do you want to sum? You want to sum the sales. So type sales. You want to sum the sales column inside of the sales table. So look for the sales column. Is there. Now, I want to observe something. When Christiana typed sales, it's not just that the sales column is just showing, it's also showing together with the name of the table, right? That's how you're going to be seeing it, right? Now, the reason why I love Power BI and why Power BI is very smart is because you might have a column name that the same name exists in different tables, in two or more tables. So if I type sales and I have sales and I have another table that has a sales column, how will it know the exact table I'm referring to or I'm referencing if there's no attachment with the table name? So that's why if you type sales, if there are other tables that also have the column called sales, it's going to show up here like this, and you are going to be able to pick the exact column from the exact table or the right table that you want to reference in your calculation. So click on the sales fact sales. and you close the bracket. Bracket was opened initially. After your sum function, open brackets, you close bracket and press enter. Right? So we've written that measure. So, but now if you write a measure, you are not going to see the result of that measure until you put it inside of a chart. So Christiana, bring out a car chart. Bring out a car chart and drag that measure you just wrote now. Drag it inside of the chart. Oh, don't worry, you can delete the other one. Yeah. What did you see now, Aslan?
Okay. Now I see the sum of sales, right?
It summed up the entire column for the sales column inside the sales table. So he's telling you that our total sales, based on the sum of that column, is 2.30 million, right? So that's what I was telling you, that this is different from a calculated column. Now, go to the table view, Christiana. Let's go and create a calculated column so that Aslan can understand the difference between a measure that will return a single value and a calculated column, right? That you are adding an extra column to your what's it called? So let's call that end sales. That end sales. Let's change it. Double click on it and let's change it to discounts. Let's change it to discount. Let's call it discounts. Good. Now I want you to watch it very well here. Name discount is oh, we have discount already on that table. Oh, sorry. It will not allow you. But can you click on the discount column? Like, let's see that drop down. Let's see the range of values that are there. Just a 0 and 1. Oh, we can't use that. Can you delete that column? We don't need it. It has no usefulness. Delete it. Exactly. Now rename the end sales now as the discount column. Rename the end sales as discount column. Okay. Now click on new column from the top part of your screen. Yes. Click on new column. And what you do now is that you are going to write an expression. So you call this one sales after discounts. Sales after discounts. After discounts equals to, then you now say you will show. So I want you to look up here now, Aslan. We are now going to subtract the discount from the sales value to give us the sales after discount. So you now say the sales, click on type sales, the sales column. The sales column.
Yes.
Right? You see that the sales column together with the what? With the table name minus the minus symbol. Yes, the discount column in the sales table because you are inside of the sales table. Exactly. Then you press enter and you're now going to see the new column. Do you understand it now, Aslan?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
apparently it doesn't seem right, these results of
it's
these
because
sales
of
after
the
this call.
data. Yeah, the data is not correct. I'm just using this to show you an example.
Okay.
Yes. So the
I
end
know.
sales.
No, actually, it does make sense. Okay.
Yeah.
In this case, you created these different table calculation. It's
Mm,
just a kind of best practice, right? To keep the
yeah.
the calculated expressions in a different table. It's something like that.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you come again?
These table calculations, Ash calculations that you have created,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just for best practices?
It's just for no. It's just for you to organize your stuff well, instead
Okay,
of your
okay,
measures scattered around different tables.
okay.
It's just well, I can still say it's best practice, yes, right? But it's just you organizing. It's just you organizing your. It's just you organizing your measures. In
Okay,
a
sounds good. Thank
yes,
you.
so that when you are looking for them, you can easily find them. Instead of scattering it everywhere, you have some measures in sales, some measures in products, and it's just scattered everywhere. Do you understand now?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So that is just it. Okay, guys. So that is an example of how you can, but because the same amount for discount is the same amount we have for this is not really proper. I wish we had a column. Actually, I wish we had a column that had few numbers that we can just use. Mm, I'm coming. Let me see if we can do this. Maybe we can generate numbers on our own. Also done for me. Okay, let's try this. Let's try. So where you have the uh delete the column that you just created. Delete the column that you just created. Okay, so create a new column. Click on new column. You can even delete the other column too. The ends. Okay, don't delete it here. Just leave it. Call this one discount two. Discount two. So this one called use the function rand between. RAND rand between. Yeah. Okay, open the bracket. Okay. What should be the bottom value? Let's start with 0.5. 0.5 to let's say 3.5, comma 3.5. Now wait, hold on. Something is showing up there that is guiding you on how to write on how to use the function. See, you see that stuff is called IntelliSense. Can you hear me, Aslan and Christina? It's called
Yeah.
IntelliSense. It's guiding you, it's telling you that for the round between, you need what? The bottom and the top value. You see? So whenever you start writing something inside of that, using that function, the IntelliSense will always come out to guide you. So type 3.5, that's like our top value, and close the brackets and press enter. Oh, what did you do? And press enter. Good. We've generated random numbers, right? So now you can go and delete the other discount column, the other one, and now rename the new one as discount itself. So what we are now doing now will make sense to Aslan. So go to the discount tool now and change it to just discounts. So you can now do your sales after discount now. That will now be the sales column minus the discount column. Does it make sense to you now, Aslan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that is calculated column. It's different from the other one we did. Go back to the report view that gave us the result of the calculation. That one is giving us the result as a column. The other one, this one is it's giving us a scalar value, right? At least it's summing, it's aggregating an entire column and giving us the results. So that is the difference between calculated column and a measure. Please do not use the word calculated measure. There's nothing like that. It is measure is just a measure, or you call this calculation, but don't say calculation a calculated measure. We have calculated table. We have calculated what's it called? Calculated column, right? So something that we are going to start today, but we are not going to finish it today. I want to show you how you can create a calculated table. Now, I've showed you now how to create a measure, a simple measure using the sum function. I've also shown you how to create a calculated column. Now, I want to show you how to create a calculated table. Now, we are going to be creating our calendar table. In that calendar table, our calendar table is going to be based on a particular date range. Now, let's go back to the table view. Click on table view, Christiana, and let's go and look at the sales table. How many date column do we have inside the sales table? We have the order date and the ship date, right? So the order date was the date that the product was ordered. The ship date was when it was shipped to the customer. Now, we will now create a calendar table that will give us the minimum order date and the maximum ship date. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
The minimum what? Order date and the maximum ship date.
Okay.
Aslan, why do you think I'm writing my logic like that? Why am I not using maximum order dates? Why am I using maximum ship dates? What do you think?
Maybe to identify the maximum order date, the maximum ship date. Identify your last sale, maybe.
It's because I want the calendar table to be able to capture the two dates, to consider the two dates. Because if I say it should be based on maximum order date alone, that means I'm limiting the calendar to only the dates that goods were ordered. What about if you want to track delivery? Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ship date is representing delivery, right?
Okay.
Why the order date is representing when it was originally ordered. So the calendar table, because we are going to be using the calendar table to track both the orders and delivery in the context of dates. So that's why we need it to capture the two. So let's say I have another date column called delivered dates. Am I still going to use the maximum of delivered dates or maximum of the ship date? What do you guys think? I want the two of you to contribute. If I have, let's say I have another column called delivered dates. Will it be nice to also extend my calendar table to the maximum delivered dates?
Yes.
Why?
Because in the chain of distribution, that's the last.
That's the last stage.
Yeah.
Thank you. You got it right. So in the chain of distribution, that's the last stage. From ordered to shipped to delivered, right? Okay. Now, let's now assume that maybe they said, oh, every delivery always happens 4 days after shipped. 4 days after shipped. Now, we can create a calculated column inside of this table that will give us the delivered date. So click on new column, and call it delivered date, because we already know that by standard, 4 days after each ship date is when the delivered date is when they will deliver the products. So we will now say delivered date equals to type the ship date in the sales table. Yes, you now click on plus. You now say +4. Please let there be spacing between your stuff, please. +4. You're adding 4 days to that date, to the ship date. So click on enter. Exactly. Now you see that this one is coming with time, and you don't need the time. So go to under your column tools, you see that format. Or go to your data type. No, go to the data type by your left. Change it to just date. So it can remove the time away. Exactly. So you see now, guys, now inside of that same sales table, we've created another calculated column, right? Because the standard is that for every delivered date, it must be 4 days after the ship date, right? So now when we are creating our calendar table, we are creating a calendar table such that it will capture the minimum order dates and the maximum what?
Deliver date.
And the maximum delivered dates. Thank you. And with that, we can start, writing more and more measures. So guys, let's stop here for today. Saturday next week again, 9 a.m. CDT. I'm expecting you guys to be here on time. Christiana, come on time, share your screen on time, and unmute your mic on time so that we can start and finish on time. And we can be able to cover a lot of other stuff, within the 1 hour time. Thank you guys. See you next week, Saturday. And we continue. So when we come next Saturday, we are going to be building the calendar table, and we are going to start, creating some more other measures and building our reports. And until we get to a place where we are comfortable, then we end the bootcamp from there. So if you still have friends that wants to join us in the community, outside the community, in any location, they can continue with us. Thank you guys. See you next week.
Thank you guys.
Bye.